guess I'll talk while the video is running. But thank you very much for everybody for coming here, and thank you, Geraldine, for curating this beautiful, interesting event, we'll call it. Now, my name is Ram Samocha. I'm doing drawing performances, and I'm curating also a symposium about drawing performance happening here in London, titled Draw to Perform. We had the last symposium last year in 2013, and people, drawing performers from all over the world gathered here, from Norway, Brazil, United States, and Berlin, and the next one is going to be very soon in 2015. So I started talking about myself, and here I'm going about a symposium. I think it's because of it's bringing me back to why I'm doing a symposium about drawing performance. And I shall start my talk maybe with this issue. Well, I am an artist, a studio artist in a place called Performance Space. And Performance Space is I think the solo space run by artists that just mainly dedicate to performance art in London. Just performance art. And Bin, who is curating this beautiful place, I met with her, and she saw my work, and she accepted me being a studio artist there. But while I was working there, though it was beautiful working there because the people are so open and so willing to share their actions with others, which is totally different if you are with painters or with people that doing like fine art. For instance, I did my master degree, and at one point there was an idea to open all the studio's walls, and it took like 2 days until everybody blocks themselves into their own space, their own private thing that they are working, their own lab that they are working. So it was kind of a very interesting thing for me to work, open and to open myself. But the thing was, not that much people understood what I'm doing, because at some point somebody asked me if I'm a designer, and I said no, I'm doing a drawing performance. But then this thing, and also actions like past action, like after I'm finishing my performances, a lot of people coming to me and ask me, tell me, is this a performance? And immediately I'm saying yes, but afterward, when I'm thinking about it, I'm just saying yes, it is, but in a way it is sort of different from performance art. So to promote this stream of performance, I created this symposium, and as I'm working more and more with artists who drawing live to audience, I find more and more artists that are doing these things live, and I think in recent year there are much more artists that going through this experience and open themselves to share their process with the audience, whether it's through a video, like a video performance, or through live actions. So this is what I did, this performance was what I did in the last symposium, the Draw to Perform symposium, and I titled it Draw to Perform also. What else can I say? say about the actions? Yes, about this whole installation. All my actions coming from questions, from questioning, and one of the things is what do you do with the final product? Is it stands by its own? Like some are just 30 minutes of action, but still, is it saleable? Can you show it as your artwork? Because what I'm doing at the studio, like drawings that I'm doing, are totally different because the energy is totally different, right? And so then I came with this idea of showing the drawings themselves, the final products, side by side, and with those frame by frame of the actions. Yeah. So. That's about it. I think like I will open it to a question, but all my actions are like coming from this source of a need to express and to present some frustration. Okay, and in here, in this space, I'm kind of combining it together. And that's it. Questions?
So why did you do, oh sorry,
Sure, sorry.
why did you do a performance instead?
Why didn't I do? Well, it's kind of tricky because I cut myself while I was working on those strips, so it's kind of, it was hard for me to, I usually, as you see in the videos, I'm working with two hands, and it's kind of in a strategy. Yeah. But, yeah. This performance that you see right now is a performance that I did first time in Berlin. It's my first visit to Germany, and I titled it Keep an Eye. And you can see as it's going with the questions, but it was an interesting experience for me as an Israeli to go and visit for the first time Germany, and it kept me a lot thinking of what I want to do in terms of this situation. Yeah. Anything else?
Do you think your drawing relates to any kind of tradition? Tradition? No? Tradition?
What do you mean by tradition?
When you influenced by when you had the idea to do the...
What am I influenced by? Oh, so I kind of, it's going back to the cavemen actually. When when they mark themselves. But I like classic like Rembrandt, and I love Van Gogh, of course. I love Jackson Pollock. I do love performance art, action painting. But yeah, like each time it's different. But I really love art, so it can be design also that I'm influenced by. It can be anything that human think and create.
But you like to do the physical involvement?
Yeah, that's a good question. The physical thing, because sometimes people, when they ask me, when they see me perform, they say, "Oh, are you doing gym, or like is it an exercise?" I think it's not about. Well, I have a need to express myself physically, I guess, but I came to this branch of performance through drawing and through my frustration from hanging work on the wall and not getting that much live response that I wanted. And at some point in 2004 I did a 5 hours performance live, and it just shocked me because it was so different for me as an artist to get all those feedbacks. So now I'm working in two directions. I have my studio work, which I'm doing drawings mostly with metals, and I have my action drawing.
Can you talk about the different medium you use? Because the first time we met, it was in a night of performances, and you did also a performance on a window. So if you can, just
talk
about the medium you're using as a window or the canvas.
Yeah.
Because the first time we met, you
Yeah,
did this
that's a good
beautiful
question.
piece. Yes. Because it's, for me personally, I'm very aware of the outside, inside, outside, especially when you're in a space, gallery or shop, the relationship with the viewer, people passing by, and the two.
It's since the beginning it was very important. I guess. Well, I started to do drawing performance just before I left Israel, and spent 6 years in Canada. Did my master and came here. And one of the things that I promised myself when I moved from my studio, my place, all those heavy words, was just traveling light and trying to use everything. Like basically, I said I'm going with a chalk and seeing what happened. So and since then I'm stick with it. So I'm not working on canvas. I'm working on a stretch canvas that I can roll and fold. Like for this installation, I just had one tube, making this whole show. And when I moved from Canada for here, I had to move my studio, and it was 4 tubes with the canvas roll and four boxes. That's it. So I kept my promise, I think. And this is one of the things, like working with glass and working on transparent surfaces or surfaces you can erase very difficultly afterward, but still erase. It's one of the things that really.
It's a lot about absence, presence. It's
Yeah.
very strong. It's very important, actually.
Yeah, and that's why documentation is something really important for me as a drawing performer. But when I did the symposium, I thought like I'm really fanatic about documentation, and then when I did the symposium, I had a cameraman that I asked to come and take photos, and he's professional and he knows photoing performance art. But when he came to the symposium, there were so many people documenting with cameras, and he came into the room and said, "What's going on here?" And I said, "Well, welcome. This is a drawing performance. It's not just a performance." I think because of the need to document the process, the need to document the change of the changes, it's something that is really important for me and for other.
Can you talk about this piece with Geraldine?
This is one of the latest one, and it's interesting because when I did a performance in Germany, I talked with the brilliant guy, an artist there, and he just asked me if I did a collaboration, live collaboration, ever. And he talked about his experience from collaboration. His name is Delon B. And I said, well, actually no. And while I was there, I was calling because I already had in mind with working with Gerald Curtis, which was also an artist, a past artist in performance space. And I said, well, actually, he approached me because he saw a work of me, a video performance, and he said, "Can I respond to this performance?" And he did something in Lab 40.
I remember all the process of the work.
Just
You've
a
been doing
second.
it 3 times, isn't it? Like
Yeah, and then he did something because I was in Berlin. I didn't see it at all. And then when I came back, I said to him, "Listen, we must work together." Because it should be interesting, and we did this piece, and it is really interesting to work in collaboration. And I'm doing this collaboration with Regina here. You should come check what we're doing on Tuesday.
Yeah,
This
Tuesday
upcoming
night,
Tuesday
6 to
night.
8.
It's in the center of recent drawing from 6 to 8.
Centre
Sorry.
of
Yeah, I
Recent
think
Drawing.
that,
It's in Islington, Henry
It's
Islington.
Andrew.
Yes, Andrew Space.
Sorry.
Yeah, I should, it's now coming Tuesday, 6 to 8.
Station.
yeah, I was just going to say, I think collaboration is something that interests me more and more. And I think the greatest art movements have been collaboration. It's been underestimated.
It's true, but
It's very important.
be careful if you're working with
Oops.
if you're working with friends, collaborating with them.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that might improve the friendship, who knows. But what about Israel? I mean, do you think, what's the art situation there? I'm just interested. Maybe
In
it's
Israel?
beside the point. Yeah, no, what I mean is specifically, like, do you think there's things you can do here that you couldn't do there, or other artists? Yeah,
A good question too. I can say that when I was in Israel, because of the tough situation, I found myself more and more working with like black colors, shifting
What do you mean
from
by
color
tough
to black.
situation? You mean?
I'm referring to my
artist?
I'm referring to my experience as a person in Israel in wartime.
Oh, I see.
Bombing and
Oh, I
going
see.
and
Yeah.
and the whole political atmosphere. But I found myself working more and more with going deeper into black. And as I moved with my journey to study abroad and to experience living abroad, I just the colors came back, and also the ability to develop an abstract approach.
Yeah. So things like black for artists in history.
I love black, but I do love color, and it
Yeah.
took me a while
Okay.
to be able to get back and use them, and I think that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, okay. Got involved as an artist, haven't you? Maybe on black.
Well, this
Unless you like
performance,
black.
for instance, is the first performance I did in Israel after being away 7 years, and I titled it Connection, and it's a 10-meter wall, a black wall, and I'm working with markers, and as the performance, it's a water-based markers. And as the performance developed, I asked people from the audience to participate, and this is one of the issues that are also very interesting for me as an artist, to not just to collaborate with artists, but to collaborate with the viewers. Sometimes I do it, but sometimes it's challenging. So I have breaks in terms of.
Why are you wearing a mask in this?
Well, if you'll see at the middle of the
Yeah.
performance, I'm taking it off when I'm approaching people and asking them to
yeah.
collaborate with me. Yeah. Here we go. But here it is, the color, which I couldn't, I don't think I could have used it before I went
Yeah.
outside
Yeah.
in Canada. So connection for me is something that's related to company.
So this is performance drawing. This could be called performance
Yeah.
drawing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Would you ever take your work onto the street?
Sorry?
Would you ever take your work onto the street, like a street artist?
Have
Have you done, or would you do?
Yeah, I did this work on the windows. Probably did more on the street, but the one thing I didn't do still is like working on billboard, which I really want to do, or like a large wall outside. Never happened, but I guess I need the right.
I think it would be an interesting process to see it from studio, as you're very heavily integrated with studio practice and studio and canvas, just to get it onto a wall and get other audiences to see it, and just to use different materials, different textures, different.
Yeah, on wall. Absolutely.
Ram, at times you almost act when you're drawing. Very occasionally, you almost make a almost comedy movement.
Yeah,
Do you really think
these
so?
are the parts that my wife get. How do you say it in English? Shy. Or
embarrassed.
Embarrassed. Thanks.
Yeah, carry on, sorry.
I think it's just my character. I just have to make those sounds. I just have to make those movements while I'm drawing because this is who I am.
Do you have a background in dance and
No,
choreography?
never. And yeah, and a lot of drawing performances are. But for instance, this whole thing and my acting are relating to something really very personal because like it's an experience from my family and like an illness of somebody from my family that I've been, you know, like connection for being there and here, and there's a lot of layers, but in terms of like those acting moments, it's just something that I guess I need to collaborate.
Because they're quite few and far between. A lot of most of the time you're quite methodical, like you're like a machine.
Yeah.
You're treating your body like a regimented, repetitive machine.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden there's this little moment of comedy.
Yeah, I guess because I'm not that, you know, I always have to balance myself. You know, there are people that are doing like very meticulous work, but if I'm doing a very realistic work, for instance, in my studio, at the same time, figurative, at the same time I will do an abstract one. So I guess I always have to balance it with some sort of humor and seriousness and so on.
That looks lovely.
That's a work I did in Canada. It's working with coins. I called it pay a visit, but it's a dime.
Okay.
And it's a copper, of course. And scratching a paper made out of limestone dust. And this is part of my
paper made out of
limestone, and that's why you can observe the mark of a metal.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing also in my studio. I'm working with a very old technique from the Renaissance called the metal point. And this technique, you're working with metal on a surface that can take the metal, and then you also can work on oxidization of some metals are oxidized differently than. This is in different parts, so maybe the next talk.
So it's like a precursor to drawing with graphite metal point.
Yeah.
It's
It's before drawing with graphite?
right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Yeah, before
Yeah.
right. Taking it back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like this. Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for
My
absolutely
pleasure.
sensitive.
Well, I think it's more about collaboration. I'm the curator, hello, and I met everybody along the way when I was performing also, and I think it's more about opportunities and collaboration between us in a way. We don't do collective work, but we have the same kind of mindset on the way we think about creativity. So thanks for taking part.